Great. So we've got Peter with us. Peter lives in Australia, and I invited him yesterday to, rather not yesterday, a couple of days back, to get an insight into what is the business scenario in Australia and how the businesses in India can leverage that. And what is it that the Australians would probably be able to benefit from the Indian businesses? So, Peter, thanks for taking time out. I've known Peyton for around 3 decades. So we did not know each other too much in college, but in the past couple of months, we got to know each other. We come from the same college. He was a couple of batches senior to me. And I'm sure we would have been doing some good work, some good karmas, and we're back to again. So, Peter, I'd like you to please introduce yourself, and then we'll have some more valuable questions, and then take the conversation forward.
Okay, thanks, Atul, and good evening, everyone. It's nice. Thank you for inviting me on this platform. It's really a pleasure to speak to you guys. Okay, for me, I'm Peter Dcosta. I am originally from India, Mumbai, and have been in Sydney from last 10 years. I was, before coming to Sydney, I was in Middle East for a few years and worked for a few years in India as well. I'm a civil engineer by profession. Probably have got around more than 22 years of experience in infrastructure projects. I worked in Australia for the mining industry, oil and gas industry, and currently sort of got a good experience in the infrastructure projects. Yes, so my goal started here in the section where probably after coming from India, where I started my own business, then I moved into Bahrain, and then in Sydney. What I would probably like to let you know, this is myself. I'm here settled with my family. I've got 2 kids. Probably I'm going to run through few things about the few facts of what's happening in Australia. I'll let you know the COVID situations in Australia and how Australia is coping with this for some time. Then I'll let you guys know about little more facts about things in Australia, and then we go throughout, saying the economic in Australia and how we can sort of venture into the business with India and Australian import exports. So this is probably will be my sort of an overarching, probably covering for a couple of, say 30-40 minutes or so. And then after that, we can probably shoot up a few sort of questionnaires if Atul wish to, or any of you guys want to look into. So the COVID situation in Australia is probably, we have got few states, we have got 7 states with sort of the Canberra as the capital. Out of that, Victoria is currently under stage 4, which is probably going into a lockdown. And last night it came into a stringent sort of an lockdown where only if required you can come out of it, come out of the house. That's only for the grocery part of it and nothing else. The rest of, they are at this stage, they're having a cases of around, today probably I've heard around, they were in the cases of around 400 per day. That's the only state in Australia which is probably having a bit of problems. Sydney today probably had around 16, 17 cases. Pretty much everything is out. My daughter goes to school every day. My wife goes to work. I'm into it completely. My other daughter, she's still into uni, but that's still online because they have stuck it and said that the uni will start only in September. So pretty much in Sydney, which is the New South Wales state, and the rest of the Australia, they are pretty much under control. I'm not saying that the second wave can happen or can't happen, but at this stage, we are pretty much things are under control, and I think Australia will slowly start opening for business. Few facts about Australia is, I'm not sure how many of you guys may know, but Australia, when we have got winter in India, Australia is summer. So Australia and New Zealand are the only country in the world probably has got Christmas in summer. Few of the countries few of the states or the known destinations of Australia are like the Sydney, where we have got the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge. There are a few very, very old caves, the Blue Mountain. It's an country, we call it as a down under. The Australia itself is known as a down under. We have got few states like, we have got the Victoria, New South Wales. We have got the Western Australia, Northern Territory, Hobart. We have got the South Australia. So these are the few states, and Canberra is the capital. It's probably around 2 hours drive from Sydney. That's where Canberra is. It's a very vast country. Population-wise, it's probably just little over what the Mumbai population is. A lot of multinational peoples are there. A lot of it's very multicultural. So I would say probably expats from more than 100 countries or 120 countries are well settled in Australia. India seems to be a very strong sort of an immigration, which is there. So a lot of immigrants come down to Australia. The more of those which we find in Australia are of IT professionals. A lot of doctors are here, a lot of accountants are here, and a lot of business people are there here as well. The guys who are into the business, a lot of them own their own restaurants, part of it. Some are into the farming. People who came, the Indians who came pretty long, a few decades ago, they are into farming. They do cultivate a lot of fruits and produce their own sort of a crop. But generally, Indians here are well known for their IT sector and for their medicine. So you'll find a lot of doctors who are there. So as a whole, Indians are pretty much well known. They come just after China. Chinese have got a lot of immigration as well here, and the Indians just follow them. Generally, when you go to buy a house in Australia, or especially in Sydney, you'll only find two people or two sort of a mostly dominated crowd. One is the Chinese and one is the Indian crowd, and the house will go probably to one of them. So this is the scenario which is happening in Australia. It is considered one of the best living countries in the world. Two predominantly places which are Melbourne and Sydney. A lot of our students, Indian students, are coming towards Australia, especially in Melbourne and Sydney to do their post graduation. So we got a lot of young sort of talent which is coming down into Australia to do their post graduation. And once they are here, they probably try to settle in Australia for a better prospects. The economy, in the sense, is regarding Australia. I'll just let you guys know what are their strengths, part of it, what they are rich into. Australia is very rich into the natural resources. So when I say natural resources, probably it's more into iron ore, coal, lithium, magnesium. These are the main extracts. So which we call it as a mining. And we actually had a mining boom probably in the 2010 or 2008 onwards, and it went till 2012. After the mining boom, that's where the economy went into, and the economy was dominated by the mining boom. After that, the economy took over by oil and gas industry. So the oil and gas ran for probably another couple of years. And now what we see is the infrastructure boom. So a lot of infrastructure is happening because of COVID. Now to bring the economy back into action, there's a lot of the Australian government is going to, or it's trying to put in a lot of funds into infrastructure to keep the economy boost, keep it up. So one is the natural resources is one is the items which are here, and generally Australia exports more of their iron ore to China, coal to China, and the other parts of the world. But the more consumption is the Chinese consumption from Australia. The other item is probably the dairy products. A lot of Australia has got a lot of dairy, so like they are good in cheese, butter, and all that sort of a thing. Even our people who run their own restaurant, they get a milk, they churn their own butter and try to sell into the restaurant, make it lassi or whatever they can. But that's like, so they're good into the dairy products. They're good into the agriculture part of it as well. Like, agriculture is good. Australia is self-sufficient in the agriculture. So whatever fruits, vegetables, they get it. They are self-sufficient. One of the strongest is the tourism. Australia has got a huge tourism, and there's a lot of boost from the Indian people. Now, from last couple of years, I'm seeing lots and lots of Indian are coming as tourists to India, to Australia. They are touring across, and then they go towards New Zealand. So there is a lot of a lot of economic boost is coming through tourism. Then we have got a lot of international students which come into Australia. So we have got, as previously mentioned, that we have got a lot of Indian students who are coming in to do their post-graduation. Lots of Chinese are there. A lot of Asia Pacific region, those students are coming into Australia. Then we have got few of the meat products, and then the wool and the leather product. So these are the few things which Australia is rich into, and that's what they export. The opportunity which I feel for we as an Indian to bring in is because we had Australia took a step towards investigation of the COVID, and it ran into the Chinese to understand where the COVID originated from. Because of that, Australia developed a very sour relation between China. And for various reasons, China started to put extra tariff on Australian goods, and things started not looking right in the business perspective or the economic perspective of it. And nowadays, what I can see is lots of media coverage getting for the Indian news. So we can see a lot of initially when probably I'm talking about 4 or 5 years back, I didn't see much of Indian news getting covered on Australia channels. But of late, I'm seeing that, and I look that as an opportunity to see Australian government pretty keen to go into the Indian sector part of it, and try to get some sort of a replacement where whatever stuff it was getting from China, if it's an opportunity to get it from India or any other Asia Pacific. So the few things which I would say that Australia may need, or there will be a need for it here, is, I would say, one is the software part of it. Is there any in software? Because you see lots and lots of Indian guys are into the software here. So they develop their own thing. They work for a software company. They do something or start their own business in software. The software is more. Australia doesn't have a talent. Australia always look as an Indian as an IT expert, as an IT hub. So probably they don't innovate more things. They either take it from US or from India, but they always see as an Indian person as an expert for the IT sector. The next I would probably say is any automated products. So as soon as they see something which is very automated, they just try to jump onto it and see, okay, this is something new. Want to get it as quick as we can. So something which is more automated, they would probably like to buy and bring it home or get it to them. So automation, which is anything which is related to automation, I would probably see as a better prospects into this region. The third one is the garment industry. Lots and lots of garments are being taken. Australia doesn't have anything or it doesn't produce anything of garment sector. So everything which comes from either China or either any of our Asia Pacific, India, or the surrounding regions. So this is where the domination is, where the garment sector is where I can see again a growth of garment industry, because if Chinese will start stepping out, there is a way mass opportunity for us, because even the Indian cotton is pretty much known here. So when you come with sort of an Indian or say Bangladesh brand or any other brand, Thailand brand or something, I think it will be more welcomed and more accepted by the Aussies or any expats who are settled here. Again, like there is an opportunity for manufacture. So there is no manufacturing in a big scale. So what I see for it is as there's a very less manufacturing units here, or I would say negligible. So again, like, if there is an opportunity for any sort of a manufacturing process or manufacture sort of plant, which can be, but keep in mind, one thing is Australia has got a very high rate of manpower, like, in the sense, the manpower here is pretty expensive. So things probably what Australia would probably will try to get some sort of a niche product, right, where it will try to come and have some manufacturing in Australia. But something which is a general product, I would say Australia will try to probably get things from or import it to Australia. The other product, what I would say, is there is vast potential for any plastic, anything which is related to any plates or cups or anything takeaways and all this massive consumption. Let me highlight this fact is Australia Australian like their coffee so much that every Australian in the morning, he'll have a takeaway coffee and he'll go to work. Even if he goes to work, after some time, if there is a meeting, there's a trend, it's not rude to come. Australian doesn't consider anything as rude to walk away with a coffee and sit for a meeting, or have some sort of fruit, or maybe even a snack bite or something, and still be in a formal sort of meeting. So it's absolutely, so what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of plastic products, related products, which we can bring it from India towards sort of this sector. So these are the few things which I look at as an opportunity where we can probably make ourselves known into this sort of a market. The major factor which needs to be considered is sort of once there are a few guidelines which the Australian government put when they have that sort of a product which comes into the market. They're pretty much stringent onto the quality control part of it. So any product which comes in will go through a stringent scrutiny. But having said that, it's not that difficult because we do have a lot of Indian products which are here on the shelf. So that's what pretty much I would probably like to say and try to conclude and let you guys know that, because I think it's a vast sort of an area, rich into natural resources, but it still lags into a few things which I feel as an opportunity. So for me, my reason to be here on this platform today is I'm venturing into my own business, which is called as the Direct Connect Global. And I'm looking for someone, or maybe a manufacturer or a supplier, where I'm going to launch few niche sort of products where I can get few things from there. I'm trying to target the Australian, the Indian, and the Asia Pacific sort of an market. I have got something in my mind, like some sort of a range which is there, or particular sort of a category of people whom I'm trying to target. And I'm just looking for a few products which I can go through or leverage through e-commerce. So Atul, I think I've got this. If you got something more to ask, I'm more than happy to go or to run through.
Fantastic. So I think you've done a pretty balanced job in terms of giving us a scenario of how the Indians are placed in the Australian ecosystem. You've also given us a decent insight into what is available in Australia, both as natural resources as well as the other resources. And you've also given us a decent insight into what is it that would work in Australia, what is it that we can give to Australia or take to Australia. Okay. I've got a couple of questions. Okay, one, you gave the perspective that it is closer to UK, and all that is understandable. Okay, Australia happens to be a pretty big landmass, and you were talking about the natural resources. Yes, definitely natural resources are important. Incidentally, what I know of Australia is that there is a very big landmass which is not inhabited or sparsely inhabited. Okay.
Yes.
If you look at the entire thing, only the coastal regions are inhabited. And if you go into the center of the continent, it is not inhabited.
Agreed.
That is where the natural sources are. Second piece, what we did not speak about is the Aborigines.
Yeah.
Okay. So the whites are not the original inhabitants of Australia. So what is that scenario? Okay.
I think,
Third.
so what happened was the Aboriginals are the origin of Australia.
Yeah.
Before the first ship from UK arrived. So these Aboriginals are more of, they're not a sort of a developed sort of personality. Like if you go into, so, and they have gone and settled into, not into the urban part of the of Australia. They live into the remote sort of in Australia. So they consider themselves as not like, into where with the government. To be honest, that government didn't look after them. That's what they feel, that government didn't take care of them, even though they were the natives of Australia. And that's why, like, when we had this Black Lives Matters, everything just came up, elevated to a different level here in Australia as well. And we did had a lot of protest even during the COVID times. So they always felt that they were left behind. And now what government has made is, and it is made as a mandatory to say, if any projects or any sort of an manufacturing unit or any sort of an development which is taking across, they should be a part of it. So now it's been mandated to say, like, if I'm having a capacity of a manufacturing space of say 50 people, there will be a ratio which will be said that this many number of people should be Aboriginals. When I say Aboriginals, that doesn't mean they can't speak or they are excellently, they are fluent in the English. They have got the good sort of, and they're into music, food, the culture. They have got a different culture. They have got a very sort of an rich art of living. So their art which they produce is known worldwide. So it's not that when they say that they are, it's only thing is they prefer, or for whatever reasons, when they found these white people came in, they found themselves like, that they were left alone, and then they started moving into the regional area.
Fair enough.
So that's pretty much how the Aboriginals are. Yeah.
Okay. Second piece is, at least in the Indian media, there was a lot of mention about the Indians not being accepted well in Australia. There have been some clashes, some racial clashes and all that stuff. How comfortable is the situation now? Because we've had Indian students who were not treated well.
I did wanted to cover actually this topic, but I thought, like, maybe it was not that sort of people won't be interested. But certainly, since you asked me the question, I would probably like to answer. I'm here 10 years in Australia. I'm not saying that there is no or zero racial discrimination. But for me personally, I've not come across any sort of a racial discrimination across. I know that there was a lot of media which was targeted towards the students getting abused or whatever things. To some extent, my understanding is, yes, there could be. I'm not saying that there was not, but see, sometimes I do feel it's not only the Indians. Like, if you go and if you've come across any Chinese or any Asia Pacific people, or even in that case for Goras, if you try to see, the scenario is, our students, when they come here to do their post-graduation or whatever degree they want to achieve here, they want, like, it's a trend, or it's a good practice that they start to work as well, which is called the part-time, because the government of Australia and the university in Australia allows you to work for some particular part-time. For me, my daughter, she's doing a first year university, but she still goes to work and do some sort of work to live there and get some earnings out of after her. And it's a pretty decent earning, where probably she won't probably ask anything from me. So it's a pretty, so same thing when our students come across here, they probably want to earn something so that they can do their own living, they can pay, they don't want to be the burden on their parents for any expense which are related to, especially related to their living. But what happens is these students, it's purely my understanding, and I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but this or any of these students, it could be it could be Indians, Chinese, or any Asia Pacific region, or for that matter, even a European or an American. What happens is, because these students, they generally do their schooling or their uni during daytime, they prefer working late time. So there are a lot of pubs and restaurants which are probably open, probably to say at 10, 11 o'clock, right? And then because the students can't stay in the city because the cities are expensive, they need to travel probably for half an hour, 1 hour or something like that to reach to that sort of their residence. A lot of the times when they go from one point A, which is their work point, to the B point, which is the residence point, from A to point B, those times are not peak hours. Like in India, if you go even at 12 o'clock, you'll find the trains are pretty busy. But that time of after 8:30 or 9 o'clock, the trains are pretty empty. When I say empty, at 10 o'clock, you may find maybe 2 or 3 people in a compartment. So they're that empty. A lot of, when you go across, you will come across some suburbs which are pretty badly reputed for druggists and all that sort of thing. And that's where those druggists probably try to get into the compartment for whatever reasons, right? And when they see the students of, or especially a migrant student, they probably see them to be an easy target to extract something out of them. And this is what generally happens. And then that's what we call it as a racial abuse. But again, during daytime also, we as Indians have felt that we have been racially abused because maybe in the bus or in the train during daytimes. But I would say it's not only Indians. Like, I will come across so many, like, even Aussies or some UK guys or South Americans or Chinese and all. They have also been treated. So I would probably say it's not like, just Indians being targeted. Yes, Indians have been targeted. I'm not saying that. But one of the reasons are like, because they generally tend to work late hours, and then their travel is between that sort of a non-peak hours, bit of a long distance as well. And sometimes you have imagine a single student is traveling 1 hour by himself in a train, which is probably no one on the train. And if two guys, a druggist probably enters in, he's in a bad situation there. So that's what is my understanding. That's what is happening. But for me as person, or me like my kids as person, I never came across to say I was targeted like as an abuse. I probably feel it is more like welcoming if you have got sort of an. I always feel like, and I always tell my kids, always keep smiling. Like that's where you conquered half the world there. So that's what my take is on the racial abuse.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's open for questions. So anybody wants to ask a question, please raise your hand so that we can have a question. Otherwise, we'll have a lot of cross communication. Yeah, Kulkarni ji and Satya ji.
Amit also.
Yeah.
Amit also. Fantastic.
Peter sir, during your speech, you told you are working on an e-commerce portal kind of a thing, and you are to source certain items. Can you elaborate the categories and?
I think Shilpaji, I do honor your question. I've got a niche sort of a product which I probably on this platform I would try to expose. If you are into more interested or getting into this, I'm more than welcome to discuss one-to-one basis. Because I'm trying to target a particular category of a crowd into the Indian, Australian, and Asia Pacific region, and a particular type of products. So it's not only one single product, there are a couple of, but my target is more into a particular age category sort of a group, right? That's the reason, and I'm just looking into seeing the suppliers or the manufacturer, and I've already started speaking to a few people across in India, in Bangladesh, and in the surrounding region. So I would certainly discuss, but like, I think it'll just be an too much open platform for me to review my sort of product. So I'll keep at this stage. I'll certainly keep it to myself, and if you want, we can have a chat. Certainly, sure.
Understandable.
Can you please share your?
I'm not disappointed by not giving you my straight answer.
No problem, but can you please share your number so I'll be able to contact you on chat.
Yes,
I
think it's
yeah.
for me.
Shripadji, okay, for
Yeah.
everybody who's present here, all the contact details of the participants here would be shared in the inner circle. That is why we invite you to subscribe to the inner circle, and that is one of the privileges that you have. So Shripadji, you will definitely get it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, great.
Okay, thanks, Sripad.
Yeah.
Thank
So we
you,
also had Satyaji and Amit, and now I think Tapanji is also there.
Yeah, thank you, Atul, and thank you, Peter. It was a great session where we came to know a lot of things about Australia, which
It's always my pleasure, Satish.
And especially this manufacturing thing is of interest to me. And like in India also now, our government also is basically focusing on Make in India, and a lot of manufacturing has to happen in India also. But then there are few manufacturers who are saturated here. And one of that is our client actually, who is one of the world largest manufacturer of optical fiber cables. So I just wanted to know whether there is a scope for manufacturing of optical fiber cables in Australia for use in Australia as well as use in the neighboring Pacific islands. A lot of islands need these cables actually, and Australia can be a gateway. So if you have any idea or you can find out.
Okay, so what I can tell you is where the manufacturing is concerned. So I'll split your question into two parts. One is the manufacturing part of it, and one is the optical fiber part of it. So manufacturing part of it, Australia doesn't have much of manufacturing industry here. Now, because of this COVID, the government has started into their sort of an education system to be manufacturing as a part of it. So now they're teaching a lot of their technical, which we call it as TAFE, which is a technical institute. Here, like, just as our polytechnics, like, we've got every places we have got. So same thing, we have got TAFEs which are here, and they are trying to teach the students now about manufacturing. So imagine we are pretty much ahead in the manufacturing sector compared to what Australia is now, because now they are learning that sort of process. We have already learned and pioneered, and we have become an experienced sort of a thing. So I certainly, for the manufacturing part of it, 100% feel there is a lot of opportunity into it, right? Heaps of opportunities. We just need to target what exactly and get into it in the right way. The optical fiber part of it, 90% of optical fiber national-wide is almost on the verge of completing.
Yeah, that is NBN. NBN, yeah.
NBN, that's right. So
yes.
NBN was a national product, like, which was launched, and it was probably launched by two previous prime ministers. So it is almost on the verge of coming to an end. If there is other than this, if there is other opportunities other than, like, your NBN sort of a sector, if there is other opportunities for optical fiber part of it, which I'm not aware, but if you have got some expertise on it to say, like, we can use this optical fiber into this sector, I'm more than happy to venture, look into it, get some more information from you, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that NBN part I also know, though it has become very controversial and it is not completed yet, but as you are telling, it will be 90% complete. But then there is beyond NBN also. NBN is a national backbone, basically, backbone network. But then you need fiber to go to the homes also, which is still copper at many places. But my idea was that if manufacturing is welcome there, and even a automated manufacturing, because these optical fiber plants can be fully automated actually. You don't need labor there. In fact, much labor or much high skilled labor is not required. but there can be opportunity that manufacture it in Australia and market it in the neighboring island countries. That can be another opportunity actually.
I would probably even take it this way, because Australia has got a very expensive manpower, right?
Yes.
So you can probably get it manufactured, or maybe in the neighboring region, we've got Papua New Guinea, which is one of the quite close.
Yes.
Manpower there would be very, very cheap, right?
Very cheap.
You can get something.
Incidentally, I've been to there. I've been to there also. PNG, we call it PNG.
That's right.
Yeah,
So I think,
yes.
Satyaji, if you want to put in some few questions for me, I'm more than happy to inquire into the market.
Exactly.
And then we can discuss.
I'll send you a mail actually, and then I think it looks an opportunity for us in India.
No, certainly. I think I'm more than happy to look into that sector for you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amit, you had a question?
Yeah. I have a question.
Tapada, we'll just come to Tapaji, we'll just come to you. Let us hear from Amit, and then we'll come to you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Amit.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm fine. So I am asking this question on behalf of one of the company in which I am a co-founder. Although I run a digital marketing company, the premium consulting company in India. Also, I am a part of a fashion brand. I'm a co-founder of a company which is into women fashion brand.
Yep.
And that is basically an integrated manufacturing and fashion for women, and it's kind of a very optimized manufacturing unit in India. And this company has been running for the last 10 years. And so we had a business connect with, there's a company called in Australia called Woolworths.
Yes.
So we had an agreement with them. We did some business in 2012. And after that, the focus went shifted to Indian market, and we wanted to create this fashion brand out of India. My question is, since you spoke about fashion, and the product is pretty much fits into the international market because the team comes from H&M, H&M and Zara. So I wanted to know that what is the possibility, because I've been exploring some Australian markets. What is the possibility of a fashion brand out of India? Could be a brand or could be a manufacturing association. So what can be done from your point of view? What synergy can?
Amit, your question is good. I liked it. Okay, let me distribute it into a couple of these small pieces and answer you, right? You said you had some sort of an business opportunities with a company called Woolworths, right? Woolworths is not a place where you can launch that product, because Woolworths is a consumable. So Woolworths is like it's a big supermarket which keeps all consumable goods. Like, you get your vegetables, fruits, your anything, your oil and bread, butter, whatever you want to. So, and they have got a very small section in Woolworths which is related to your garment sector. So anyone, if he wants to go and buy something garment, I don't think he's going to go into the Woolworths garment department to buy. So I think the entry into that Australian market into Woolworths was not the right way of going into it. There are a lot of other places where you can have an opportunities which are purely related to your garments. You mentioned about H&M and Zara, right? These are, I think, they are pretty well-known brand. Yeah. But the thing is, I've not seen them. I've seen them in the Sydney city, but I've not seen them that widely spread across this area. So when you say, do you, Amit, do you want to come back into the Australian market? Is that what you're saying now?
Yeah. So basically, this Woolworths was just a referral to do something in Australia. But when I said H&M and Zara, what I meant was that I mean I think there's a fashion store called Macy's.
How do I spell that?
Macy's, MSCY.
MSCY.
Macy's and Target.
Yeah, Targets are there. Yeah.
Okay. So the kind of clothing which Target and Macy's have, is what we are producing here in India as well.
So, do you want to venture into this sort of in this sort of a market? Is that what you're saying, right?
Not the corporate side of it, but is there any opportunity where a retailer who is starting, or you are starting something to venture?
No, certainly I can on this, see, if you are Target is a brand where people do go and shop clothes, right? So if your product is equivalent to a Target brand, then pretty much I'm not saying that you are capturing the high end of the market, but a general majority of the crowd you're capturing, because that's the place where your Target is a place where people will go and buy their clothing. Not I'm saying for any festive season as such, but for a general use where you can probably use at home wear, or just for some shopping around or something. These are the clothes which Target keeps. Target is considered as a good reputable brand. So if you say that your product is equivalent to that, I think you're pretty much into the sort of an acceptance, sort of a level of what you can, or what an Aussie could start buying. So yes, certainly, to answer your question, I think we can again speak one to one on this and see how we can get into sort of the sector where I'm trying to promote my sort of an e-commerce, and at the same time we can probably take a look into some other aspects as well.
Yeah. So just one last thing.
Good enough for you?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amit, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So basically, I will speak. I mean, I will connect to you one to one also, and I will take it forward also to how to appoint let's say a distribution channel, or a distributor there, or anything which you can add value.
Yep, certainly. So Amit, what's your full name?
Amit Singh.
Amit Singh. Okay, certainly. Okay, no problems. I think we can take it from here. I think it seems to be you have got a good sort of a product which can I would say could launch into this sort of an area.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic. Not a problem. So, anytime.
Yeah. So we've got another question from Tapanda. So Tapanda is from Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Dhaka. Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Peter Dcosta and Atul Puri and other. I was actually listening very carefully. I visited Australia. One thing I noticed that very recently the Australian University coming to Bangladesh for their marketing, and Australian University doing their business in Malaysia campus. As for example, the Monash is a nice campus in Australia. They are offering a scholarship and others. And for the PhD, they are doing Sanders kind of PhD. You go for 2-3 months at the beginning, then fix your thesis, come back to your country. Later, you go after 2 years or 3 years to the university to present the thesis. I am interested about that. If Mr. Peter Dcosta can throw us some light, how we can, Bangladesh, India can collaborate with the Australian University, what actually a Muslim country, Malaysia, is doing. Malaysia, a kind of conservative in the light of Islam, but they are collaborating very nicely with the other university, and students from Bangladesh doing their higher education continuously, their masters, PhD, even doctor, MBBS, other things. Why we Bangladeshi people or Indian people cannot collaborate with this kind of world class? I should say the Monash and other European, I mean that England or Australian university, both of the country, UK and Australia, actually now taken education as an as a service where they are making a lot of money and revenue. How the Mr. Peter actually advise us about that?
Okay, thanks Tapan for your question. Again, an interesting question from Tapan. Okay, so what I'm feeling like, Australia takes lots of students from outside. That's their
Yeah,
main source of an economic boost. That's one of the main economic boost for Australia, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, when you're talking about Malaysia, Malaysia shares a lot of, or it's a business partner with Australia. A lot of a lot of Australian meat product goes there,
mm,
and that's the reason why, because they are already a business partner there. And Malaysia consumes a lot of Australian meat and the varieties of it. The accessibility towards Australia and Malaysia, the relations already there from the past. So when Chinese started dropping down, because when Chinese government started saying, okay, there is a racial discrimination here, and you don't, because that's how they started. When the relation between Australia and China started becoming a bit sour, Chinese started talking about saying that there is racial discrimination. All these years when Chinese students were there, they never thought that. But now all of a sudden they started making this propaganda saying that there is a racial discrimination, and that was one of the way they wanted to move away their Australian student, their Chinese students towards other part of the globe. But when Australians saw that like they're losing a lot of potential, a lot of their students, immigrant students who are coming in, I think Australians started moving into the universities in Malaysia and other surroundings. I'm pretty sure once this sort of a business gets established, like once slowly China moves away and Bangladesh and India starts coming into the sort of picture and more sort of a business, because there was a free trade agreement between China and Australia, right? That's
yeah.
the reason why the business was very strong and things were moving pretty easy. India is still not that sort of a free with Australia as yet, but I still believe that it's not very far. I'm not very clear on what the relation with Bangladesh is, but I do see a lot of Bangladesh clothing here into the market. So I'm assuming that there is some sort of a trade which is already there between Australia and Bangladesh.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's very far. Like that Australia will soon start coming and entering into Bangladesh market or Indian market, advertising for their students, because they know that their revenue is getting lost. Like because the universities are there, the teachers are there, the facilities there, right? So, but the students are not there. So that's the reason why they will now have initially maybe started in Malaysia, but I don't see it very far that they will start venturing into Bangladesh and India or any other Asia Pacific region.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions that we have? Okay, so I'd like to introduce another person who will be speaking tomorrow. His name is Mr. Atul Kakkar. He is a resident of Gurgaon, India, and he is well versed with Nigeria and West Coast in Africa. So tomorrow, like we had a conversation on Australia today, tomorrow we are going to have a conversation on West Africa. So Atul, if you could take around 1 minute to share about what you are going to present tomorrow. And then we again come back to Peter.
Yeah, hi Atul. Very good evening to everybody. Thanks for inviting me. But one apology. Today afternoon, I'm going for another African country on a special mask mission. So you have to spare me for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yesterday we had a meeting, and this garment mask which we are producing here, we have to introduce in Niger, another neighboring country. So
okay.
Special delegation is doing place. So, but definitely I'm going to come back to you. So there was a small question with Mr. Peter. There's a lot of wine production going on in Australia. So
Yes.
how about exporting those wine in different parts of the world? And Africa also consumes a lot of wine. And whether they are compatible in pricing and quality with South African, Chile, and Spanish wines.
Okay, I think this was the question which I wanted to touch. I think probably I missed on it about the Australian wine, because in my notes it did have sort of a very strong Australian wine, right? So what I'm saying is Australia produce a lot of good wine, good quality wine, which goes to probably more than 50, 60 countries worldwide. where the price is concerned, I can assure that the price is really good. It's very compatible, right? And very comparison. The taste which is there, I can challenge, like it could be on a it's not only the wine, there are a lot of other segments which are there, like I could probably say few other, maybe the champagnes or some other sort of varieties which are there available. Yes, I am looking into this part of it as well. I've already started asking these questions. If you are interested into that sort of a sector, I think we can collaboratively work into it to see how we can get it. But I can certainly say, when I'm trying to compare, okay, I'll just put in short. So this December I was in India, right? And I had been for a couple of parties, and I hear on a daily basis, not on daily basis, but maybe a couple of times I do have wines in a week. And I probably went and thought, like, I'll have some wine which was an Indian made. When I just asked for the price and I compared them together, I would say, for the price part of it, for the quality part of it, for the genuine product part of it, I would say the wines here are produced, or would be more sort of in a competition way. It could be really come into the big market. So
actually in India also the wine growth is 20% year to year at the present.
I'm not denying it, but when I tasted it, I don't know whether it was my taste or my flavor which I preferred. But when I would compare the quality or the aroma out of it, or especially the price part of it, I would say both in taste, in price, I think we have got a better market this side.
Okay.
So we've got Shripad
Kulkarni.
Peter, I'm from wine capital of India.
Nasik, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the capital of one capital? What is the name?
Nasik.
Nasik. Shripad Kulkarni.
Is it Sula wines?
Yeah, Sula wines and Ventura and many more.
Many.
Yes, I think I was looking into the wine part of it actually, and probably I'm just trying to see how, because I think there are some restrictions of alcohols being sent from here to India. I don't know. There are some sort of processes which I need to follow up, because I did my initial sort of an investigation which said that it is not that easy, right? So as any other product comparisonly. So probably I may probably have to do more investigation. If someone is interested there in that part and has got a good knowledge related to wine industry, I'm more than happy to.
I will definitely introduce a person with whom you will be able to take the things forward.
Yep, and let me share this one thing with you guys as well. Like, what happens is, wine is, because of this COVID and because of the trade war between China and Australia, lot of wines are getting.
Okay, guys, we are at 4 o'clock and we had promised time till 4 o'clock. We'll extend this call for another 10 minutes. I need one question to Tapanda. So Tapanda, since Atul has just pulled the carpet from under my feet, would you please speak tomorrow on the Bangladesh business?
It is my pleasure, Atul Puriji. Hope that I will speak tomorrow. You
Fantastic.
tell me the time.
Same time, 3 o'clock afternoon. So 3:30 Bangla time.
Yeah, 3:30 Bangla time. It is okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll be available to discuss on that.
All right.
Okay.
So Atul, now you please give me an application when you would like to speak.
Sure. Let me come back. No. I will definitely come back. And what I'll say, going to Niger, it means adding one more station for you.
Whatsoever, you send us an application, okay? We are busy guys.
Okay, sir.
That is good.
I value you. I value you.
Okay. Yeah, Peter, please carry on. So we've had a very interesting conversation. So we spoke about Australian meat. We spoke about Australian natural resources. We spoke about garments. We spoke about infrastructure. We spoke about wine. And we spoke about the dairy industry in Australia. And the person who was speaking,
education.
And education also, right? And the person who's speaking, he is a civil engineer who just knows how to dig holes. How better it can get. Yeah. And we also spoke about optical fiber, telecom. Wow, that was quite a mouthful.
One request to Dr. Peter Dcosta. I noticed in Flinders there is a very interesting education system. Doctor in public health. It is for only 2 years. Flinders University. I visited this. Doctor of public health. Now the crisis is all over the world. We are discussing about the public health situation. And WHO said that another 1 or 2 decades, we have to research on public health is important for every country. So whether Dr. Costa know that, whose university, except the Flinders, there is the Sandwich PhD. 3 years, 4 years in Bangladesh, India, the traditional way is not going to be work anymore. And the education is going to be very cheaper on the earth. I saw one video, say the number 1 university, Harvard, they failed to recruit a single student the last semester. They are in the $1 trillion debt. The ivory campus, the no teacher, no student. So education becoming cheaper. So what is the scope with the Australia, with our Bangladesh and India? We are in the same culture that we bring them for the modern technology, modern education, because they earn a lot of revenue. I noticed England and Australia, I visited 2 countries. Now they earn a lot of money through the education business. So why we don't be the partner of that, and how do we actually can be connected with them, Mr. Peter?
Yeah, Tapanda, I'll add to this. Actually, India, 2 days back only defined a new education policy where the foreign university and their curriculum are welcome here. And now with these e-learning kind of thing, there are a lot of platforms where the education can be delivered at 1/10 of the cost, I think. So we have to take these things also in mind. And I think there is a great opportunity for some of the Australian universities to be present in India virtually.
I request Mr. Peter to continue whatever you have left halfway regarding wine.
So my request is all of you please carry your cheese and your wine, okay? and I think let us spend, it will be more prudent to spend the next maybe 5-7 minutes to introduce those people who have not spoken, okay? So that we get to know who else is there. We've got let us start with Tapanda. If you can please introduce yourself, okay?
Thank you.
Not know what you've been doing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Otulji. My name is Tapan Kumarnath. I am a civil servant of government of Bangladesh. I served 38 years, and now I am a retired civil servant. Oh, I am not looking a retired person. I am looking younger. So I am spending my time with consulting things, and I have did 4 masters and 4 diploma. Now looking for a PhD in India or Australia, in my neighboring country, and I'll be continuing with my public health discipline. I work for the WHO, World Health Organization in Delhi. CRO was my regional office, and in Dhaka. So now actually I am working with some hospital and some educational institute and some business with Russia. Yesterday we make a long discussion, the Russian vaccine, Russian medicine. Russia was our friend, and India recognized us in the 1971 December when Indian recognized them was in with us. We liberated. So we are very grateful to India. Mr. Otulji was mentioning last meeting. Similarly, the Russia, the superpower, was with us. So our business, our mentality, and our cooperation could be easier with India and Russia. As other countries also, as China, we need to cooperate with other America. But why don't we forget about the India and our Russia friends? So now I am focusing on this business and little bit about Africa. We are trying to explore Africa business, and I
Fair
have a
enough.
friend
So
who is
fair
actually
enough.
related.
Tapanda, we look forward to hear more from you tomorrow, and there will
Yes,
be a lot more questions for you. All right, thank you.
thank you. Thank
Let's
you.
hear from Mr. Ravindra Mishra.
नमस्कार पीटर जी, मैं आर के मिश्रा फ्रॉम टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ। हिंदी ठीक है? हिंदी चलेगा पीटर जी?
चलेगा, वो दौड़ेगा।
ओह ग्रेट। मैं टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सर्विसेज से 35 साल सर्विस करके रिटायर किया हूँ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से, और अभी एक स्टार्टअप हम लोग चला रहे हैं, और ये टेलीकॉम डोमेन में कंसल्टेंसी करती है। ये लाइसेंसिंग से लेके और रेगुलेटरी कंप्लायंस का हर पार्ट में ये करती है, और बाकी सभी मिनिस्ट्रीज के साथ में कंसल्टेंसी का काम करती है ऑन द डिफरेंट इश्यूज। और सेटल्ड दिल्ली में हमारी ऑफिस है, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर में। थैंक यू।
Fantastic. Yeah. So, Amit, if you can please give a brief introduction of yours.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name
चेहरा
is
भी दिखा दो.
Abhi. Okay, I'll just open once I give my introduction.
ठीक है, please.
So, my name is Amit Singh, and I am a co-founder of a company called Digital Experts India, which is a premium boutique advisory company spread across 4 states. And we handle projects, basically the premium projects, which are scalable and where we can really show results, the committed results. So that is one part which I handle. Apart from that, parallelly, I'm also a co-founder, which was 10 years back. I became part of that company, which is into working women fashion domain. So as we, I don't know whether we all know it about not, because a lot of international brands are pouring into India, and we wanted to create a fashion brand out of India. So that is how this entire concept came in. And this is a very integrated manufacturing to retail. So that's a very integrated company, and it's a value format. So it's very affordable fashion for working women. So these are the 2 companies which I am a co-founder, and look forward for any synergies and association.
Fantastic.
So much.
Yeah, great. Mr. G.S. Ahuja.
Hi everybody. So this is Ahuja. I'm an accountant by profession, and I've been in practice of about 25 odd years. I'm based out of Noida, but I have offices in Delhi and in Bombay. So thanks.
All right, great. Yeah, Manish Kumar.
Good evening, everyone. Atulji, my camera is not working, so
No problem,
I cannot.
No, please carry on. Yeah.
So my name is Manish. By profession, I'm chartered accountant, and I'm providing the business and tax consultancy to business owners. And my office in Delhi. Thank you.
Fantastic. Saurabh Khanna.
Hi everybody, myself Saurabh Khanna. I am based in Mumbai. I am the national head for a company who is into IP CCTV domain, and I am also a member of eGrowth Inner Circle, where we talk on business perspective, how we can grow our business. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Seema Bhatt. Seema, would you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello
Yeah, please. Yeah.
everyone. My name is Seema. I'm audible now, sir?
Yeah, you are audible. Yeah.
Yes, sir. By profession, I'm a teacher.
Okay.
I'm a Becker's Vedic Maths and memory enhancement expert.
All right.
And
Which city are you from?
And I'm from Delhi.
All right, great.
Delhi.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And Shripad Kulkarni ji, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Shripad Kulkarni from Shrisan Technologies Private Limited, Ambad MIDC, Nasik, Maharashtra, India. We are into stainless steel as well as MS and aluminum fabrication required for operation theaters and luxurious malls and centralized air conditioning units. We supply ducting to AHU connections, all sort of accessories required for centralized air conditioning. There are many parts which are being exported all over the globe. In addition to this, I would like to introduce myself as a president of one networking organization exclusively working for the community improvement and development, which is known as Brahman Business Network Global. We have existence all over the globe as such. More concentration is presently in Nasik, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, then Andhra, Telangana, and Karnataka. As well, we have some connects in Dubai, Australia, Sydney. Also, Mr. Chandrakant Datar, you may be knowing, he works for BBNG, Mr. Peter.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we work for transformation of Brahmin community, which is branded as a employee community to employer community.
Fantastic. Sudha Shetty ji, please. Sudha ji, please introduce yourself.
Hello.
Yeah.
Myself Sudha Shetty. I'm staying at Bombay. Bombay. My daughter now staying in Australia, Melbourne.
Yeah, nice
She's
to know.
citizenship over there.
That's good to know.
Australia, Melbourne. She's
Have
staying
you
there.
been to Australia, Sudha?
Hello.
Have you been to Australia?
Melbourne.
So he's asking, have you been to Australia?
Yeah. 5 months there. 5 months.
Okay, nice to know.
You are staying there only, or?
I'm in Sydney.
City, acha.
Sydney.
Sydney. Okay. One of my friend is staying was Sydney.
Nice to know,
Okay,
Sudha.
thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, great everybody. Wish you a happy Raksha Bandhan. Have a great and lovely relationship with your siblings. That is a God gift, God-made relationship. Okay, friendships and other relationships are man-made. So with that, I think let's close the conversation for the day. We look forward for another very interesting conversation with Mr. Tapan Kumar tomorrow. And let's look at another aspect of international businesses. And then we'll keep on building on it. Day after tomorrow, yeah.
Just before you leave, Mr. Shripad and Mr. Tapan, I think I have your questions with me and I'll address to it some other time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll share their coordinates with you and you can keep in touch with them one-on-one.
Yes, that's for sure. Thank you.
Okay. And also, I must share with you, my name is Atul Puri. I am the, the curator of the CEO Talks. CEO Talks is essentially to support the entrepreneurs. So it is for the entrepreneurs, about the entrepreneurs and by the entrepreneurs. Okay. We keep on looking at how is it that we can add value to you. And CEO Talks in turn is brought to you by eGrowth, which is a B2B platform for small businesses. I invite you to subscribe to eGrowth if you've not done so far. And then let's move on the journey and take it further. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
अतुल जी.
Yeah.
अतुल जी, उनका नंबर है क्या? हाँ, लेके रखो.
ठीक है, लेके रखता हूँ. हाँ जी.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, hope to see you tomorrow again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.